Hey, thanks for tuning in. The last video I uploaded was behind the scenes of a cool barber warehouse where they restore antique barber chairs, and they also do customized barber chairs in there, and a lot of cool stuff. So if you guys want to see more content, comment below and let me know. So for this video, I want to talk about how you can open up your own barbershop. So there are two types of people that open up barbershops. First type is an investor, is a person that invests their money in a barbershop business and hires barbers to work in it. The second type is a barber that wants to open up his or her own barbershop. Each type of person has different ways of going about opening up a barbershop. So for me, in my experience, I was working in a barbershop prior to opening up my own barbershop, so I had experience and I also had my clientele. I recommend that if you're a barber, you get your license and obviously get some experience so that when you do decide to open up your barbershop, you will have that clientele that will follow you. Now, not everybody's gonna follow you, but if you know how to cut hair, more than likely most people will follow you. When I knew I was ready to open up my barbershop, I started studying, and one of the things that I learned from reading books and that whole process was that if you don't know what you're doing, like, hire a professional, because if you sign the wrong document, you can fuck yourself over, you know, and it can hurt you in the long run. So I recommend hiring a professional, doing it right. You know, you're gonna spend a little money, but that money can save you a lot more money in the long run. So you also gotta look at it from a landlord's perspective. So if a landlord sees a potential tenant that has no track record, they're gonna go with the person that has history and has an existing business. So for me, in my situation, I didn't have a business, so I knew I had to think outside the box and think differently. I hired a business consultant, I hired a commercial lease consultant, and obviously I hired an attorney and an accountant. It just shows the landlord that you're prepared and that you're hungry more than anything. Because like I said, you're going above and beyond. I hired a commercial lease consultant. They went over the whole lease and explained it to me in a way that I could understand it, because a commercial lease is not the same as a residential lease. And the agents and the landlords, they're saying, okay, there's a young guy that, you know, hired all these professionals and that are doing everything right by the book, and he's obviously hungry because, like I said, he's going above and beyond, and most barbershop owners don't do that, you know. So they were caught off guard, and they were amazed of how prepared I was, and so that helped me compete with other existing businesses. So the first thing you need to do when you decide to open a barbershop, like I said, you gotta have your clientele, and then most importantly, you gotta have money. You gotta have funds to be able to, you know, buy everything, buy all the equipment, build it out, obviously, and so it takes money. You can open up a barbershop anywhere from $10,000 to $300,000. It just depends how fancy you want it, and you know, so that just depends on you, and so everybody's different. To me, I wanted something different. I wanted something more luxurious, something that catches the eye, that's a good vibe, that has a antique, old school, but also a new era type of vibe, you know. I always knew that I wanted to start my first barbershop here in San Clemente. So I started here in town. I started driving around everywhere, looking for spaces. Nothing was open at the time, so okay, I started traveling north, and I went through multiple spaces. I went through like 8, 9 different spaces before I actually found this one. I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, so I knew, like, okay, it might not be on the first try, it might not be on the 5th try, It might be the 10th or the 100th time, but I'm not gonna give up until I get my shop. So that process lasted about 6 months. Eventually I found this one. I was driving by and it was late at night, and I saw the sign for lease in this window, and I was like, bingo. So I like called next thing in the morning and I emailed them. That was a process in itself, was finding this location. Now once you find it, you got to talk to the agent, you know, and propose the lease of intent. And so that's a whole nother process, dealing with agents and landlords. And the lease package is literally like almost 100 pages, you know. So like I said, if you're not a professional, that shit's written in a whole different language. And like I said, hire a professional if you don't know what you're doing. So that's what I did, and anyways, that helped me a lot. And signing that lease was another process in itself, because like I said, I was competing with other existing businesses that were negotiating the same spot, you know. So the landlord saw that I was prepared, I was young, I was prepared, and I was hungry. Eventually, I got the spot, and I leveraged myself by hiring all these professionals, you know. So now, you know, you gotta find your contractor, person that builds furniture, stuff like that, you know, all of that. You gotta go through the city, get the city permits, and that's a whole nother process. And you know, it could take months, it could take half a year, just depending on the city and how strict they are with city codes and everything. And that's a whole nother process. So you gotta, to open up a barbershop, you really wanna do it. You know, you can't just half-ass it, because there's a lot of ups and downs. It's not always easy, especially as a beginner, as a first-time barbershop owner. It wasn't easy, but it was a lot of grind, not giving up. And now I'm in the process of opening up my second location, and I will be recording the process of the build out. If you guys are interested, let me know. Let me know what type of content you guys want to see. Definitely want to show you guys the before and after and in between, and maybe you guys can give me some input of what you guys recommend of me adding to the barbershop. I don't know, give me some cool ideas. I was thinking maybe getting like an exotic bird and putting them in there, like, I don't know, something crazy, something cool, something different. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know.